All right, guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Manuel. Today I'm going to be talking about the Terran Tactical Ballerina, and I'm going to do a review and looking over everything over the gun and comparing it to my Glock 17 that I built, and comparing to see if it's worth the price of the actual gun or if it's worth building your own. Now, this right here is what you call the Ballerina. Very beautiful pistol. It comes with the coin. Also comes with this, the extra mag. Sorry, I forgot to put that in there. But it comes with 2 mags. As you can see, it's clear. Now, before I get into this gun, I'm gonna talk about this gun. This is my Glock 17 that I built myself. Can you open it? This is a Glock 17 that I built myself, originally because I didn't want to spend the money on getting that gun. I was being cheap. I didn't want to buy this gun. I was just like, the money, it's too much money for what it is. So, first things first, show that it's clear. It's clear. All right, guys, so just so you know, right now, what I got into this gun is about $1,700, and I'm gonna show you where I got that. The first thing is gonna be the PMM comp. I actually got this on sale. Original price for this comp and barrel is $380, but I paid $300 for it. The 507 comp is $400. Now, the trigger is like a Frankenstein put together that I put. It is the Alpha Timney trigger. It does have the Johnny Glock's walk shoe. That Timney trigger alone was $140. Then I spent another $100 on the trigger shoe. I also did the Ghost Disconnect 3.0. That was about $45. I did do a one-piece guide rod kit, which is another $55. I got the extended mag release that was used. I paid about $30 for that. TTI mag wheel was about $55. Let me see here. I did the Wolf spring kit as well. And let me see, I'm just trying to read off everything before I forget. The RMR, I like the RMR steel plate. I paid $60 for that. Let me see. I think I'm forgetting other stuff. The gun by itself, I did buy it used. This was some kind of special edition one that says "Don't Thread on Me." Didn't really care for that. The really thing that I cared for was that it was a Glock 17 MOS. But I just want to give you a little bit of history on this gun, so that when we compare the TTI to it, you can already know how much I have into this gun compared to this gun. This gun, I did get it on sale. It was online for $4,900. It did come out to $43 after being on sale. It came with the SRO. To me, if you minus the SRO for the gun, I mean, the SRO, depending where you get it, it's, you know, $700, $600. You minus that off the gun price. I mean, the gun itself is probably like, you know, $3,600, $3,700 for it. So what I'm gonna do, guys, I'm gonna talk about both guns. I'm gonna talk more about the Ballerina. If you can just stay with me, I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible. This is one of my second videos I've ever done on a pistol, and I'm trying to keep it short, but you know, it might be a little bit longer than expected. I'm also trying to blend in the shooting part side by side. So we'll start off with the first thing. Okay, guys, the first thing I want to talk about, the very first thing I've noticed on the TTI Combat when I first held it was that the grip is way thinner. Like, TTI really did an awesome job on this grip. It is extremely thin, almost as thin, I would would say like the closest thing I can think of is like maybe a 1911, how thin it is, compared to a factory Glock. Like this thing is bulky and very huge. Now, it feels extremely good in the hand. I love that feel. Now, could be a love and hate thing for different shooters for sure. For me, I got really big hands, so it grips on here like this. As you can see, it grips good, but at the same time, like I'm so used to these being so wide that I feel like I have to put more pressure. So I do need to train with it more, because I do pull some shots from time to time with it, just because my grip does start to loosen up because of how thin it is compared to like this one, where my hands are like just cuffing it really nice. Again, it can be a good thing and a bad thing. I know for sure, like some guys with bigger hands may not like it. Some guys with smaller hands might not like it. But I know for sure all women would probably love this grip on this. I'm not saying I hate it. I do like it. I love the way it feels. Definitely easier to carry something like this because of how thin it is compared to how thick this is. I can't carry this without like having a hard time concealing it, especially with a big mag weld. So part of the grip that I noticed is the texturing and the grip that they did. It's not as aggressive as I would like it to be. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't feel like that very aggressive sandpaper-ish feel that you get on other ones, but it does feel good. They also do they do a little bit of the cuts on the side of the frame so that you can put your thumb on. It does feel great. I still don't put my thumb as good as there. I probably put it more on the outside. It serves kind of like somewhere to put your thumb at versus, you know, something like this that doesn't have anything. It does feel nice. It does feel good. Feels nice on that. I would say, like, for as much money as you spend on this gun, like the lines right here, they're not the greatest. I'll see if you can see it. If you see it in person, like you see how I've seen guys charge cheaper and they do way better, straighter lines. Like this is like straight out from Terran. See how like they're not as perfect as you would expect it to be on such a expensive gun. As you can see some of the machining there. But see, like, you know, I've seen local guys do a little bit better line cuts on there. I'm not saying anything negative. I'm just saying, like, you would think it would come out a little bit nicer. I'm not that picky. It doesn't bother me. I'm just showing that just in case, you know, for those that are considering getting this gun, what to expect. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is they do this undercut here, which is really nice. It lets you bring your finger up really high, really up there for a better grip. And they do cut this a little bit more here. So that's real nice and smooth. Right there, you see that? Versus like this, it sits a little bit lower. Very nice, I like that. So the next thing I want to compare is the slide. So the slide has some very nice aggressive cuts. Like these are very nice and sharp, especially the grip. So that does give you that nice grip. Like, man. So this one didn't come with any, even from the factory. This gun came with these letterings. I bought this gun used. It's hard to find a 17 MOS, especially a Gen 4. I was able to get one. It came with this lettering. So if I consider the cost of what it would cost me to cut the frame and cut the serrations on this, or any other custom lines I would do, I think I got quoted somewhere around 350 on top of the price of the gun. This one already comes with like this nice hole in here. The top part is very nice cut. Everything goes together, especially with the comp. Again, these are very, very aggressive, very sharp, very grippy. They feel really nice. And the finish on it, oh man, it is phenomenal. Like, I really like the finish on this. It's what really got my attention about the gun to begin with. But yeah, guys, I mean, if you consider the work that they did to the frame, and I know you can buy aftermarket frames and aftermarket slides, I'm sorry. You could buy a slide, like you could buy an aftermarket slide for this gun already with all the cuts and slides and everything. Maybe it depends where you get it. I know the ones I was looking at, there's some cheap ones on eBay for like $100 or 150. The very nice ones that come close to even looking like this are like $300, $400. I decided not to do it. I almost sent mine to get cut and get done. They were quoting me $350. That does include Cerakoting it again. I just never did it. I do, again, this one has, you know, the TTI logo. That looks cool. I love the way it says Combat Master on the side and the way it says Terran Tactical on it. So I can see like the pricing of this gun being what it cost. Sorry, guys. So yeah, like the slide alone, it just looks beautiful. All right, guys, so one of the biggest things that I give TTI credit to is the trigger work they did to this. I mean, the trigger on this is amazing. Just very, very, very little pull. And you pull the trigger. Reset. So all the tuning they did and the work they did to the trigger on this, it's very, very noticeable, very noticeable. Very soft, very easy trigger to work with. Now my trigger is combined of different stuff. So mine is an Alpha Timney trigger like the one in the TTI, except I did the Johnny Glock shoe, and I also did a Ghost disconnector, the 3.0. I took all the internals out, I polished it, I spent hours polishing them because I'm very picky about it. I spent a lot of time taking it apart on and off, and adjusting the screw in the back for the pre-travel. It does feel good, very nice. It's definitely, you can feel there's the wall, the pull, the reset, right short, boom. So the only thing is that definitely a little bit heavier pull versus the TTI. The only thing I would say the advantage of this setup over the TTI is the reset. It's a lot nicer on this, like very, very little reset compared to the TTI. It's like a little smushy, like a little bit of a delay, not as positive, like it doesn't push out as much. See, and versus the one I did. Now this does have the Johnny Glock's strong return spring in it, and that could be why it does that. The only thing is I did take this spring out and I did put it in here, and it wouldn't work. Like it did not work. It did not reset. So whatever TTI does to their trigger, it definitely, it even looks different. The return spring looks and goes in different than it does in here. I wish I would have took them apart so I can show you, but they do bend the return spring a little bit way different, and it goes inside the actual trigger, like there's a little hole in the Timney trigger, and it goes in there, and then it's kind of like twisted, kind of weird. That's the way they do it, so that it can have that nice reset. And this one, it doesn't. It's just, you know, you have that little circle and then the two arms, and you just drop it in, and it just, the reset on this is way nicer compared to this. But the pull on this, oh man, I mean, even with my non-dominant hand, look at this. It is just very nice, very crisp. This one, it's, you know, it has a low pull, but not as, see, like I can't even, I'm pressing it, it's not. But if I use my, you know, strong finger, it's nice. I don't know what the pull on this is. I've never checked it, but I'm assuming it's like a low 3, high 2 in there. So the other thing I want to talk about, like, it's the compensator. The compensator is about the biggest reason I wanted this pistol. It just fits this slide so perfect, like so perfect. I love the work they did on it. It fits it so uniform. They even cut the slide so that everything matches up and mocks up very nicely, very evenly. It just looks like it goes all as one piece, one gun, one whole big piece. Now, if you compare the aftermarket PMM, like, this looks very similar, but it looks tacky. Like, it's just one big piece sticking out. It doesn't line up. It doesn't, I mean, it lines up fine here. It just doesn't line up, you know, with the bottom of the frame the way this does. Like, it just, everything just fits uniform, versus this looks like an added on piece, and this looks like it all belongs together. Now, as far as the ports, they're very similar as far as size. This one, of course, has them side by side, versus this one is on top, but these ports are just as big as these, if not a little bit bigger. This one, it just, how I said, it just looks plain and tacky. You just have, you know, very little lines on it. You do have the PMM logo on top, versus this one has a lot of, you know, body lines. You got the ones on top, you got the one right here that goes uniform with it. You do have the Terran logo on it at the bottom, which makes it look very nice. You have even the bottom part right here has more body lines to it that make it all mock up very nicely, especially this part right here. It just, man, very nice, very aerodynamic. Looks real cool. Like, it doesn't look like a compensator. It just looks like it's part of the gun, versus, again, this is very flat, very minimal body lines. And I know that's not very important to anybody that is just looking for performance, but if you're looking for performance and looks, like, this is definitely giving you both. Like, this comp just looks incredibly nice compared to, you know, if you were to buy one and put one on. Even at that, say you want to make this one look nice, the money it's going to take you to get somebody to cut it and re-cerakote it and try to make it as nice as this one. But again, here's the compensator. Looks great. Love the way this looks. Let's compare them side by side. And if you're wondering how much difference it is in length, let me put the gun side by side. Let me pick up the camera for you. So this is so you can compare them side by side. They're not that much longer. They're pretty close to being even. Very similar. Like, if anything, this is just a hair longer, but it's not that much longer. They're pretty close in length. So yeah, I mean, if you want to take a look there, sorry the lighting's not that greatest, but again,
That's how they look.
All right, guys, so we already talked about the compensator. We talked about the trigger. We talked about the grip and everything they did to it. The only thing I forgot to mention was that they do cut the slide for the Trijicon RMR footprint. I love that they did that because I really hate whenever you mount a optic on a gun, especially like the Trijicon, and you have that big gap between the optic and the body. That's just me being picky, but you know, it's a big plus that they cut it to make it fit right there, real tight, real close. It barely co-witnesses to it. It doesn't co-witness too much, but it does co-witness pretty good. Not as much as I would like it, but when I take this 507 comp off and I put it on this gun, it co-witnesses a lot better. Now, I'm a bigger fan of the 507 comp. I put these on all my pistols versus the Trijicon. I'm not hating on Trijicon. I just prefer the Holosun green dot. I like the green dot better. I wish Trijicon offered it in green dot. I do like the square look of it versus the circle size of it. Not trashing or saying anything negative about Trijicon because they're really good optics. I personally just prefer the 507 comp, and chances are I'm gonna take this off and put a 507 comp on it just because I'm used to that. I use that on all my pistols. I can draw and find the dot easy. It also, I said, it co-witnesses better. But the point of this is just that the slide is cut for the Trijicon and it sits flush versus that you have to spend money on an actual plate like this one, which mine, I like the steel plates. I don't like the plastic ones that the Glocks come with. So I did spend extra money getting that plate for it. So that's a big plus on that. All right, guys, so we've talked about everything that this pistol has to offer for the price that it comes with. So now comes the negative parts about this gun. Again, like with all the good things, there's bad things. I do not discriminate or hate on Glocks or anything like that or any other pistol. This review was meant to be as realistic and honest as possible because everybody kept saying this gun is overpriced and it's very expensive, and I wouldn't know. Like, this is not something that somebody gave me to try out. Like, I went out and spent my own money and I bought it on my own just to try it out. And just how much I like it, you know, there is some things I was, you know, disappointed about. The very first thing is this thing's a Glock. No matter how you put it or see it, it's a Glock. And when I say that, I don't say it in a negative way. I just say like, hey, you know what, for the price that it is, you're still getting a Glock. Like TTI did not get this and start from scratch and make the frame, or they didn't make the slide from scratch. They literally took a Glock like this, you know, basically what I'm doing and doing this, they made a Glock, they got a Glock and they started cutting. So they didn't just like make everything from scratch. And what I'm trying to get at is like, they didn't get something like this. Like, this is an Atlas Titan. And Atlas makes all their parts. So they like, yes, this is a way more expensive pistol compared to something like this. Now, I'm just trying to get at that I can understand why this pistol is so expensive. Like, everything is fit to this gun. Like, by far, like everything's fit to this gun. And the tolerance and everything is really tight to it. Like, it doesn't move, it doesn't wiggle. Atlas makes their own parts. They fit everything by hand. Compared to something like this where they just basically took this, used their machines and their stuff and cut it. I think, don't quote me if, quote me if I'm wrong. I think the most hand stuff they've done to it is tune the trigger. Like everything else, in my opinion, was probably done by a machine. You know, all the cuts, all the lasering, like everything. Even I think the grip, I don't think that was handmade. Like everything is probably, you know, by a machine. And, you know, I can justify the price on this being so expensive because a lot of it is hand fitted, a lot of it is hand done. Even like the Wilson Combat, you know, like I'm a big fan of Wilson Combat, you know, their stuff is all same thing, made from scratch. They didn't take another gun and make this. They hand fitted everything. Yes, the machine made the frame and everything, but they made their own frame. They made their own slide. They made their own internal parts, and they put this gun together. That's why I can see why this is so expensive. But Taran did not make this Glock. They just customized the Glock. So I can see why some of the people say like, hey, like, you know, it's not worth the price. It's you know, too expensive. At the end of the day, it's just a Glock. I can appreciate all the work they did to it, and I can appreciate everything, all the designs, and I can see how much I've spent into this gun, and I'm nowhere near as it shooting and looking as nice as this. They still got to make their money. I get it. Now, what I'm more disappointed at is when I was trying to say that at the end of the day it's a Glock, is that it should run like a Glock. Like this thing should have zero issues because at the end of the day, it is a Glock, and Glocks run no matter what you throw at them. At least that's what, you know, everybody always says. They run no matter what. So like if you throw this in dirt, it should run. If it throws in mud, water, whatever, it should run. With that being said, when I first bought this, the first thing I did was take it to the range. I didn't do anything other than oil it. I shot it, and what did it do? It kept doing this. Failure to feed, failure to feed, failure to feed. And I was pretty disappointed, to be honest with you. Every now, after a little while, like it started just running good, running good, running good, running good. It definitely would probably shoot a whole mag, and then all of a sudden it would, you know, failure to feed, or it would failure to go all the way into battery. Extremely disappointed at that first day. Took it home. I was like, let me take it apart, clean it, oil it better. I did. When I took it apart, I didn't realize that out of the factory, they come with really thick grease. Like, I don't know what grease they use, but it's really thick. And for those that are gonna say like, oh, well, you should have cleaned it before, you know, you used it. Like, if it was this gun's really high-end tolerant. Really, any little piece of dirt gets in it and the gun's a piece of crap, you know. Like, it's great for shooting, but you gotta keep it clean. It's dirty. If not, then it won't run. Like, I understand the tolerance and tightness of this gun. It has to be very clean. If not, it's not gonna run. For the most part, I'm not saying it's a piece of crap. I'm just saying, like, the tolerance are so tight that it's gonna run no matter what, unless it's dirty or you don't clean it, or you drop a mag in the dirt and stick it in there, then, you know, you're gonna have issues, which, you know, sometimes I do when it's not clean enough. But at the end of the day, this is a Glock. So even if it did have factory grease in it, or even if it had mud in it, this thing should not jam, failure to feed, or have any issues. With that being said, my Glock that I built, since I built it, has had zero issues. Zero issues. This thing will eat anything. I can put good ammo, cheap ammo, crappy ammo, steel ammo. I've done it all just to test the tolerance of this gun. That was even before I even bought this gun. I bought this, and I, you know, because this is just a toy for me. It's not something I compete with or do anything with. So I'll buy the cheapest steel ammo and run it through here, and they'll eat it. I don't have any jams in it. I don't have any malfunctions. And this gun just runs. And this gun is like, it can be picky. It can be picky on the shooter, and it can be picky on the ammunition. And I don't understand why, because at the end of the day, they took this and made this. Like, I don't understand what the difference between this gun and this gun is as far as internals. Like, they might have tuned it a little bit, but why doesn't this run perfectly fine as this? Now, it has ran a whole lot better since I've been shooting with it. I'm sorry, and I got over 2,000 rounds through it already, and it seems like it's working the bugs out. The only issue is it also depends on the shooter. Again, I think it has to do with the grip. If you're not holding this gun tight enough, you will have some shooters that will either cause it to, like, failure to go into battery like this all the time, or failure to feed, where the round gets stuck halfway in there, and then you'll drop the slide and you have to jam it. You'll see in the videos where I'm shooting it, where there's a time where the gun just like gets stuck like that, and I gotta like hit that in there, make the round go in. I've gone as far as even polishing the ramp even more, because I believe Terran does that already, but I did it more. That did help with some of it. I'm not saying it does it all the time. I'm not saying I'm just saying it does do it. The place that I bought it from, I know when I went back, they asked me about it, like how it's running, and I told them, and they said the other one they sold was having issues were kind of very similar to what I was doing, and they asked like if I'm having the same issues. I said yes, I kind of am, but I did something a little bit different as far as I cleaned it, polished the ramp and stuff like that. I did call Terran and ask them what recoil spring they use. They said it's a 15-pound, but that if I was having issues, to put the other recoil spring that it comes with. Now, I have put that recoil spring in it, and it still continues to do it. So, again, I don't know, maybe I just got a bad one. I'm not saying it's bad, because it runs great. Like, I can run 300 or 400 rounds, and, out of those 300 or 400 rounds, maybe I'll do it, 5 times. This one will not. I can run 1,000 rounds through it, and it won't have a single malfunction. I can beat the living crap out of this. As a matter of fact, my son, one of my older sons, we were shooting the other day, and he thought it would be funny to put a 30-round mag in this, and he just lit this gun up, just lit it up. And he tried it with this gun and shot 10 rounds, and it jammed. Took it out, started messing with it, put it back in, then ran the other 20 rounds, 0 issues. So I don't know exactly why this gun does that every now and then. That does kind of disappoint me a little bit, because this gun at the end of the day is a Glock, and no matter what you do to this Glock, you should let it run. It should run no matter what. Like, I don't care if I bury it in dirt, you should run it. You can't say it's because it has a lighter recoil spring, because this has the same 15-pound, or I think I even put a 13-pound in there, I can't even remember. But it is like super light, so it's not the recoil spring. It has to be something else internal with this gun, because again, this gun runs like a champ. Like, I can run anything through it. This one right here, it depends on the shooter, really, like how you grab it or grip it. Because like my wife, when she shot it the first time, just kept jamming and jamming and jamming, and I have no idea why. But when I would shoot it, 0 issues. I don't know if she was limp wristing it, but from what Glock guys tell me is you can't limp wrist the Glock. You can't. It's impossible. Well, I don't know why that one does it. The other negative thing I have to say is it's very light, And that could be the reason, like they shave off so much stuff. Maybe it doesn't have enough mass to go forward. It doesn't bother me at all. Like, I don't care. I kind of like it. It's great for carry. Some people might not like that. I wanted to add some weight, and I wanted to getting a tungsten recoil spring. This full length one with a 15 pound recoil spring to add some weight to it. The only thing is, like, I did notice, like, my accuracy, it sacrificed a little bit with this thing. The weight does feel good in it. Like, it adds balance, because this is super light compared to this. I don't know what the weight difference is, but this compared to this is like a brick, and this is very light. I don't know how to explain it, but man, they shaved some weight off of it, and I wanted to add some weight by putting this on there. And it shoots great with it. It still has the same malfunctions every now and then, not as much, but it had that weight. But to me, it did, I don't know, it shoots a little bit different. I like the factory recoil spring better, and you'll see in some of the videos. I didn't show where I swapped it, but you know, I did shoot it to see the difference. You'll see some of the videos I add to the end where I'm shooting these, so you can compare them side by side, and you can see where my hits are. The videos are a little choppy. I had to go to 2 different places because of one place doesn't let me shoot fast and one place does, and stuff like that. Again, like, I'm not saying that this jams a lot. It's just, you know, it's a Glock. It should never jam. I'm not saying Glocks don't jam. A lot of people are gonna say Glocks jam. Yes, I've seen them jam too, but the ones that have a lot of rounds in through them are the ones that are starting to fail. But brand new ones, no. Again, I would say out of 100 rounds, maybe you'll get like 5 to 6 that they fail to feed. Out of this one, out of 100 rounds, 0, like none. They will run, they'll eat anything. I don't know why this gun's a little bit more pickier. Again, at the end of the day, it's just a Glock. Like, this is an actual Glock slide. The reason I know that these are Glock internal parts is a friend of mine, when he took it apart, he showed me all the Glock numbers and everything that they come with. So yeah, they are Glock parts. So this gun should run like a Glock. It just, again, maybe it's just mine, I don't know. I'm gonna break it in more. I've never heard of anybody saying you have to break in a Glock. Other than that, I still trust it. It still runs great. Again, I am gonna use it for competition, and that's when I'll really know. I'll give you another update. I'll start using it for competition and beating the crap out of it in USPSA. And if it starts to malfunction a lot more, I will come back, make another video, and tell you what it is. And I'll even upload the videos of the actual stage matches that I do. For now, I still trust it. I'm not saying I don't. I just think that it should run better than it does. For those guys that say that you can easily build this yourself for way cheaper or do a way better job, you have to understand, like, a lot of those guys, they have the equipment to do it. They got the equipment to stipple it, or they got the knowledge to stipple it. They got the machines, and they got this. I got a local guy that, you know, he builds badass Glocks. He does great work. But he has all the machine, and he does all the labor himself. And he could build something way better than this for way cheaper. But that's the work that he's doing himself, and that's him, you know, maybe getting the parts at a discounted price. But if you're a regular guy like me that just, you know, doesn't get discounts and, you know, is trying to do the work himself, it's not worth spending the money or getting yourself into this when you can just buy, you know, something like this. It's already built and already ready to go out of the box. Just, you know, shoot it and enjoy it. Well, guys, that's it for now. I hope you enjoy the video. I'm gonna put some of the stuff together as best as I can and upload it. Just, you know, you watch the shooting part of it now and let me know and see what you think.
You got 12 rounds in the it's a little bit, but it's
All right, guys, I'm gonna do a draw to shoot with the Ballerina first, and then I'm gonna switch over to my 17 that I built, and we'll compare the shots.
Are you ready? Stand by.
So here's my shots on those. Couple went off to the other side. I'm gonna shoot the Glock 17 I built. Same exercise. See if I don't catch that mag release this time.
Okay. Are you ready? Stand by.
All right. So all 10 shots are A zone. just so you can see, this is the 17 that I built. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and finish the video up. Sorry it took so long. I just kind of wanted to give all the details. Wanted to show what the gun looked like with the flashlight on there. It looks really good. Honestly, I prefer it without it. To me, it looks better without it. This one looks better with it. It's just preference. Final thoughts on, is this gun worth it? To me, the gun is definitely worth what they're asking. Like, yes, it's not 100% perfect, but it is definitely worth it, especially with all the stuff they've done to it. I can understand like everything and they've done to it. I can actually understand why they charge what they charge from, because if you start from scratch, I mean, obviously it's gonna add up real quick. And you know, like the ideas and stuff that goes into this gun, the trigger work, and of course what they got to pay their gunsmiths and everything they got to do to this gun, like it takes time and money to do it at the end of the day. Is it worth the money? Yes, in my opinion, it is. Is there better options that you can buy? Yes, there is. Like for example, like, you know, this Wilson here is, you know, $4,000, same price as this, and you know, of course it's a way better gun. But if you're somebody like me, like I just got bored of 2011s. Like you can buy all kinds of 2011s for that price, or all other stuff, and I personally wanted something different. I wanted something out of the ordinary, and I believe that's what this is something different, something out of the ordinary. So this, I will say, it's not for everyone. It is for those specific people that want something that looks really nice, that shoots really nice, that is looking for something with low recoil and it feels good in the hand. But if you're looking for just trying not to spend as much money and, you know, get the best performance out of it, you know, yeah, then go ahead and just spend the money on building your own, because building your own, you know, you can get it to shoot just as great, just as nice. I can say this is that I don't think, in my opinion, you're gonna get this trigger or anybody else's trigger as good as this. And I think that's where this gun really, really shines. You know, that 1.8 to 2 pound trigger on this, compared to, you know, something like this. Even though this feels great, it doesn't feel horrible, you're just not gonna get that nice tuning part of it, unless, you know, of course, you're some kind of professional and gunsmith, and that's different. Now,